how to get a business loan with strategic partnerships and the right roadmap so you can continue to climb from one level to the next and to the next one. Even if you're already at the very top, perhaps you've come back down. I'm going to go through that, as well as the SBA EIDL loan appeal process, the increases, and so much more in this video. Appreciate you guys for being here today. If you're watching right now, please give me a hashtag live or hashtag replay if you're watching later on in the comments. I would greatly appreciate it. And I'm thankful for those of you who could make it. And if you can't right now and you're here later on the replay, love you. Thank you for always valuing me as much as I value you. I know I outstretched that word a little bit. But what I want to get into very quickly are a lot of the problems that I'm seeing in the lending space, and then I'm going to get into some of these solutions. But I can remember as far back when I first got started with my business, venturing into this whole start your own business, have more time freedom, or at least in the beginning you end up having a lot more control, and then you end up giving that up because you realize that to get more freedom, you have to give up control, totality of it, and you have to focus in your area a lot of the time. And when I was working in a logistics / business role within also a distribution company, the way things were going there, I had gone away from school, had finished, got my degree, and went back into the workforce. And I had to build my way up. I started in a position where I was having to work physically, having to move things, and at the same time I was working on the computer. And it was a hard time. It was around 2013 to 2014, a little bit earlier than that, and pushed out to about 2016 or so. And in this role that I had logistically, I had to move a lot of equipment. I had to stock up shelves. I was forklift certified. I had to move around the electric pallet, the manual pallets. And it wasn't like physically intensive. It just was some part of the position that I had to take for me to then move on to the next role, which was more of a business budgeting position that was more control over all that, which I was already doing part of it. The inventory, the stocking, the moving, the different boxes here, helping with HP and Peace Health, who were in the same building. And once I was done moving little pieces here and there, it wasn't heavy. I would get on the computer, whether I did that in the beginning or not, and I would go through all the Excel spreadsheets, look at the budget reports, see how much was being allocated where, what more we needed of, how to put these spreadsheets together, understand the count, understand on a business level what we needed and what needed to be ordered, and a few other components. However, it became intensive because there was a person in front of me who wouldn't want to retire. So the growth in that position was becoming obsolete. Yet I stuck in it for more experience. And previous to this position, I had other job roles, working in the construction, manufacturing, working in data, analytics, a few other positions before I got into the whole financial business side of the equation post education. And so when I got into that field, I had to start somewhere and I had to build my way up, and I had more responsibilities. But guess what? Like a lot of us, the pay just didn't increase, or it didn't increase to the point where we wanted it to. So I was underappreciated and undervalued, underpaid. I over-deliver every single time. It's giving the amount of value without expecting much in return. And so when I found out the company was going to go down under, of course I had no other choice. I had to say, do I go back to school and finish about another year, or do I go get more certifications on top of all that I already have? I already have that business acumen that I built, especially in the position, but there was no more growth. There was no more moving up. I was underappreciated and undervalued. Overworked is an understatement. When work picked up and we had to move things around, it became a little bit more intensive. Physically, I don't necessarily like those types of roles, but it was part of the whole work this way. And then for a lot of time, I would be sitting on a computer working on a few things business-wise. And so when I got pushed out of that role, it's because the company went down under and a lot of people lost their positions, especially with HP and more. A lot of contracting companies, Peace Health. And even before that, I was already experimenting with ways of building a business. One of those being online. And so before I got relieved of my position, as well as other people did, I had a day where I was having lunch on my desk. I have a sandwich sitting in front of me that I grabbed from the refrigerator that was no less than like 15 steps outside of that cubicle space. Grabbed it, came back, sit down at my desk where there's 4 different corners. Computer here, there, my other colleague, you'd like to call it, or the other person who was working with me is right next to me but wasn't there at the time. They went their own way for lunch. And I'm literally sitting down in my chair when I get a message on my Snapchat social media app. I looked at it and I thought, why is he messaging me? I haven't heard from an old friend of mine in some time. Opened up the message and he had responded back to an image of a teriyaki meal that I had the night before for dinner. And it was because of that exact moment that story, you like to call it, lasted for the time that it did on that app, and that I got a response back. Connected with this individual while I'm here having a non-toasted sandwich with some chips. I think they were the Doritos. I usually have those with me. But I looked at the message and we just started talking. He said, "Hey, how are you doing? How are things going?" And you know me, I'm always confident. I go, "I'm doing very well. How have you been?" "Yeah, I'm doing good too. I'm, running my own business now and I'm doing this." And in the back of my mind, the gear started to turn more because I had already been leaning in that direction. I just needed a little bit of guidance, like we all do when we're starting our business. And so sitting here at the desk if I look above me, there's this huge beam of light, a big round object just beaming through the bottom, brown cracks, like we were in a dungeon. And I knew my time in this company was coming to an end because they had previously prepared us that, hey, we're having to relieve a lot of people. And then next thing you know, they had to, that company got somebody else overtook that company. And so I was already preparing, and then my friend told me about how you could build an online business as one. And so right after I got done with my workday, I literally rushed home on my car, just driving, not recklessly, but I wish I could see every green light. And it felt like that's what it was that day. I was hitting every green light, and there were about 10 of them, and my physical work location wasn't too far away from my home. When I got home, parked the car, got out as quick as possible with my backpack over me, got to the door, opened it quickly, pushed it wide open, literally put my backpack right next to the staircase that were in front of me. It almost felt like I just threw it there, but it was so rushed that I just went like this. Turned the corner, went around where the kitchen is, and on the countertop is my laptop sitting from the night before. Picked it up, put it on the dining table, started doing my research on my friend who told me, hey, there's this way of building a digital marketing agency. There's this thing called passive income or affiliate marketing, e-commerce. And what did I do next? Of course, like a lot of us do, I started doing all my research. I don't know how to say search. But I started doing all of that on my other laptop that I had at the time. And I started researching ways, and that's what started my journey in realizing how to build an online business, let alone aside from traditional brick and mortar. And so and then I got into, hey, how do you do this with getting clients? Once you get clients, how do you keep them on a retainer? And how do you build a whole infrastructure around it? And then I heard about this e-commerce, and then it became affiliate marketing. And then understanding, well, what are the exact products? What's the exact niche, or niche? And then what's the exact traffic? How am I going to funnel people in? What is actually trending? Putting all those components together. And then once I had solidified it, and it took quite a bit of time, it wasn't the first month or 2 months, putting blog content out, because that's where I began, with the written word. And then from the written word, later on, when I first started a digital marketing agency, and then that's where it then spread out into the affiliate side even more, because I was doing them kind of together. And I built one in the health space, built that one over years, and then transitioned into a different project where then I would help people understand quote unquote little marketing techniques, I guess you can call it, very ethical. And just kind of what software as a business owner you can use, what type of email marketing integrations, CRMs, accounting software, all these different things like sales pages, landing pages, websites, which ones are right, which ones are wrong. I started to integrate all of that and began to show a lot more of how that works outside of the digital marketing agency that had already happened, because I built that with the health / hybrid that with an e-commerce for some time, and then I got into showing people how these kind of courses will work and how I was able to apply them. Thereafter is when I really wanted to get into the financial aspect, because I had already dealt with business applications in one of my previous roles where I was very limited. As I said, I was being overworked, undervalued. And so when I started learning about how to get into helping business owners acquire business funding, that took my world to another level. And it was because I started, with these other business roles and models, and I tried to understand how to get business funding for them, which I did eventually. And that alone was a different animal of its own. And I know what you guys are currently going through. And the reason why I bring this story up when somebody in here says, I thought you do loans, I hope now you know how this all came about. I want you guys to understand the backstory of where I started and how I ended up here. I think it's very important for you guys to understand. But getting funding for those businesses wasn't easy in the very beginning. Like I've said before, getting to a certain amount of revenue, sales, all these different things, components, the hybrid of the e-commerce shop, and then going back into a regular blog, and then affiliating for different products, trying to create my own things, selling those different courses and products. That was an evolution that inspired me to then say, I've been here before. I've always wanted to get into brokering. That's what I wanted to do from the very beginning. I was always seeking out these other passive income streams, which have now been set up. But I always wanted to come into this financial space 110%. And I eventually had that chance to. And I felt like it was the right time for me to venture in, because I have the understanding of how these lenders work, because I've myself have gone through them. And I understand the repercussions and the scrutiny that comes with it. Like I dealt with a lot of my lenders today and having to disapprove of people and their applications, and even before they got to an app sequence. So putting that all together, I've been able to become more of a peaceful, complacent, wholehearted person of this, because I can bring that value unlike anybody else can. And ever since all this business building, it has brought up my self-esteem up even higher, and the confidence level. And the certainty is there. And so now I walk even higher with my head up, and with a lumen type of confidence that I had never had before. And so that's a little bit about what I went through. Of course, it can become more of a longer, specific version, but I hope now you have a general sense of all of this. Let me come to the comments. Like I said, yes, busy, emailed me, appreciate you. When? And then secondly, I don't know if you've heard of this before, maybe you have, as well as everybody else in here. I'm flooded. And that's great. When I have a lot of emails, questionnaires to fill out, it's 5:50 now. About 9, I'm going to go on a walk. I haven't done that yet. I will sit down on my laptop, go through emails. If you can reply back to what I haven't emailed you yet, you can show up at the top. But what I ask of you is patience. When you work with me, you're not just working with another agent or another broker. I filter from all sides. I have direct lending relationships. I have these brokerages where I have already those partnerships with those direct lenders, whether you think about it as an agency or not. And people have a bad thought of it's not a bad thought. Especially when you're coming through someone like myself, where I can communicate the process to you. What lender was this one looking at? If this is a direct lender, why does it make sense to go there? Why do you think I didn't show you that option? Instead, I showed you that direct lender being here, but as a part of multiple because of your file. Because perhaps they stopped. They don't want to open it up for brokers. They said, hey guys, we're not working with any broker anymore. We did in the past. And the current ones we don't want to work with. So this is in your best interest. Early payment discounts, more flexibility, no prepayment penalties. Like a lot of the times if you go through a direct lender, more flexibility in your terms and your rates, better repayment structure, add-on funds are available, dedicated broker, perhaps an account manager. A lot better comes out of that than always saying, I heard about this company, yes, but I also have them here, and it's in your best interest to go through this setup as opposed to just going through them directly. And there are individuals who it makes more sense to, and I will speak to them. But the majority, and especially in today's market, over 90% of the time, the lenders to go for are all over here. Hope that makes sense. EIDL Loan Appeal, I spoke about that already. I'm not going to get into it in depth, but just make sure you understand that you have to validate information from the SBA first before you can communicate with your constituent advocate or your small business advocate, one or the other. Once you are in communication with them after the initial email, then perhaps they'll ask for more information. Perhaps you send them a document that you can verify. Hey, my credit's this. I have certification from the bank that showed me, hey, we accidentally didn't update your credit score, so this shouldn't disapprove you for this, or your amended returns. But I created a video on the channel. You guys go and watch, where I speak about the process for your SBA EIDL Loan Appeal, increase, etc. And I showed you guys through the congress.gov site what you guys can go and do and how to fill that information out. I gave you guys a template. So what I'm going to end it with, outside of you guys already know the story, how I went from this role then to getting in contact with a friend who gave me that thought of it's time to transition to this, not just get another position, not just try to do this in the corporate world. Instead, hey, there's this other way of building a business online. Digital marketing agency, there's affiliate marketing hybrid with e-commerce. Then there were a few other ones. And then you have what I ultimately wanted to do for a very long time, would become a business loan broker. And this is my priority and my focus. Although I do have those other ones, they do get their attention from time to time. Huge parts of it can be outsourced, but this is my focus. I know my stuff. I know it very well. I've helped out a lot of business owners get funding of all backgrounds, of all industries. And I see a common theme all the time, especially with different services, with their details, whether that's their bank statements, year-to-date financials, profit and loss, balance sheets, AR, AP reports, a certification, an agreement perhaps with PPP loan, something maybe didn't register when you forgave it and it didn't show up correctly, if we're talking about tax returns and so much more. But strategic partnerships and having the right roadmap. What you want to do is, again, partner up with the right individual, the right team, and have the right roadmap. And that's what I can show you. And what I mean by that is, it's not going always directly to the lender, which I can send your file to, which I still do. But a lot of the times, it could be that those same lenders are within this brokerage or this quote unquote agency, if you want to call it that. And I still help broker those deals. Broker it and or act as the intermediary agent. I do both. And so when I have these relationships up with the underwriters, it's very important, as well as the lenders, multiple, then you're able to have more flexibility, especially when you're coming through me, because they know me. The officers, the underwriters of those specific lending companies, the exact lender, they even reach out to me, and then hey, we know you submitted X, Y, and Z. We know you very well. We trust you. We're giving them this amount of help. This all looks good. This looks good. Boom, boom, boom. And then there's a lot of readjustments. So building the right partnership, it goes far beyond just me. It goes the lender, the underwriters, probably a funding officer, maybe a financial advisor. But in a way, we all collaborate. I know what's going on. I know I'm in communication. I hear from the underwriters. I hear from the lenders. They may hear it too. I may have more authority than someone else does. The lender has more authority to do this, as well as the underwriter. But that's just the world of brokering. And I do this every day consistently. This is my world. Again, this is what I said I focus on primarily right now. And so, with that being said, I created content around strategic partnerships and roadmaps that I'll link you guys to. It's in the YouTube channel. So if you guys go there and type in like strategic partnership, you'll find out more about what I'm talking about. And there's more of a visual representation. And just to quickly end this video in a recap, you heard a bit about my backstory, about how I got into business, what actually gave me that epiphany, what actually, there was a Snapchat message from a friend of mine who I reconnected with, being in this situation that I had been struggling in for some time, and it was hard back then, and especially not being able to go up. And then coming to a bridge, a cross point of, am I going to continue, or am I going to go maybe work for a banking institution, or was I going to do it this other way? Instead, I figured out the route of passive income, and I started thinking about how can I get a base of clientele, and that's how the digital marketing agency part came up. Building websites for people, funnels, setting up their blog, Google My Business, ads, and that list went on and on. And then later, at the same time, while I was doing the affiliate stuff, that started to grow because I was able to apply the skill sets that I learned here into that model, and then vice versa. What I learned there, I was able to push over here. And so things started growing. Family, friends, their own businesses, brick and mortar, online. I started to get a better understanding of how it all worked. And like I said, I always wanted to get into the space for quite some time. And when I finally got into it, I went full throttle with it. And I'm very in deep in this, guys. Like with my lenders, underwriters, the connection personally and in business. And so I'm always here to help you guys, and I'll try to email you guys soon. I'm going to take a break, but I'm going to leave this open for about a minute if anybody has any questions, comments, or concerns before I go. All right, everybody, I'm going to conclude with that. Appreciate you all for tuning in. Keep looking out for content for the rest of the week. Be observant, be on top of things, and I will reach out to those of you who have emailed me. But like I said, this is almost like a one-man show right now. And until everything is outsourced or somebody else can handle this part of it, I have to do a lot. And that does mean like the marketing and the products, the services, and some of the business operational, and then financial side of the equation, whoever I have that outsourced to, CPA, etc. But just know that I have your best interest at heart, and this is the best thing you're doing possible. That's all. Oh, one more thing. This is just a simple ask. If I didn't say it already, maybe you're watching this here on TikTok right now, and perhaps you're watching it later on YouTube. Refer to the description for all information if you guys need help. Go to the bio link to get started. And there will be a questionnaire form if you guys want to fill that out to get business funding, get evaluated for your best option and options. Very thoroughly broken down, detail per detail, personalized and customized, so you're not making mistakes after mistakes. Then please refer to that. And that's all I'll say. Take care.